Ladies and gentlemen, yes, this is your favorite show, Sports Unfolded, with your favorite hosts, Eric and Ron.
Hey! Welcome to the best sports podcast on the planet. I am your host, Eric. My main man over there, Ron. How are you tonight?
Oh, ready to go. The pig pile will be coming soon.
Oh, I cannot wait. We cover all of the top sports stories from the week and kind of give you our opinions. If you are joining us live, James, thanks for joining us live. You can chime in. We will be glad to obviously post your comments and discuss anything you want to discuss other than religion and politics. We are all for it. So join in. We love when we have our fans join in. And as well, stay tuned at the end of the show for our prediction episode. Get your name on our prediction chart. It's growing as we speak. So, Ron, first and foremost, my friend, it's never a dull moment in the sports world.
No, it is not, Eric. And after the 4 years that we've been on, it's nothing surprises me, and there is certainly never a shortage of material.
So glad we picked the right topic to have a sports podcast on. It kind of helps out. But I will say this, Ron, we are going to start off with our leadoff story, and that is one Mr. Daniel Jones. So the question is it time for the New York Giants to move on from Daniel Jones?
Oh, well, didn't I say that 2 years ago?
You did, but I'm going to refute a lot of what you said today. So I'm going to let you go into your spiel first.
I mean, I just don't think he's the guy. And I know he can do some certain things, but I just can't see him being a success.
And James thinks it was a long time ago. He said, I disagree with both of you, and I will tell you why. First of all, 5 seasons with the New York Giants, 22, 36, and 1, 64.3% completion percentage. He's thrown for over 12,000 yards, 62 touchdowns, 40 interceptions. Also has rushed for 1,914 yards, 13 touchdowns, a 5.8 yards per average. You think about
be a running back.
But you think about what he means to the team, right? A lot of running quarterbacks now in the league, first. Secondly, 2 years ago, everybody was talking about Brian Daboll and how a genius he was, and look what Daniel Jones did, got him in the playoffs, right? They won a playoff game. Now all of a sudden you're going to tell me that he's done. Doesn't make sense to me. Third, if I'm the New York Giants, who just offered 4 years, $160 million with $82 million guaranteed, his cap hit would be $69 million if we get rid of him. No team can afford. We, as in the organization,
okay.
The New York Giants, if they get rid of him, $69 million towards the cap.
Yeah, I'm not saying you can get rid of him now because you're just throwing money out the window. But, when they made the playoffs, and let's be honest, they didn't actually have a tough schedule. So then last season, you got a little bit tougher of a schedule, and they didn't do so well.
Also had the injury. And I will say this, Ron, that team as a whole gave up 85 sacks.
I mean, you got to wait to see this year, right? I mean, you have to play the year out.
To me, it doesn't make sense to get rid of him this year because you need to build.
You can't get rid of him this year.
Supposedly they're trying to. And they talk about trying to move up in the draft to get one of these
What
quarterbacks.
sucker is going to give them a draft pick to get a draft choice just to get a quarterback like Daniel Jones?
I don't know.
What sucker would do that?
See, I don't think he's as bad as you make him out to be. I don't.
I
don't think he's
good,
great.
Eric.
Would you take him over Mac Jones?
Probably.
I'm just saying.
Because I think Mac Jones is destroyed, and it's too bad because I think he could have been a good quarterback, but Once you start hearing those footsteps coming and they're not there, then you have problems. And
Kenny, thank
that's
you.
what happens. You got gun shy.
I'm not. Listen, Daniel Jones to me is a middle of the ground. If you build around him enough, James would take him over Mac. Absolutely.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like he's so gun shy.
Get him a wide receiver in the draft with the number 6 pick, or an offensive lineman with the number 6 pick. Build around him. Again, they got to re-sign Saquon Barkley. We don't know how that situation is going to be. So, again, you're losing another piece of your offense. And see what happens. Because, honestly, the teams ahead of them, Chicago, Washington, New England, Arizona, and the Chargers. Only one of those teams realistically right now, or two of those teams, are maybe not in a quarterback, and that'd be Arizona and the Chargers. If you move up to 4, that doesn't help you because Chicago right now rumored to be taking a quarterback. Washington, we know, is taking a quarterback. New England, who knows? Trade down. But, I mean, again, could a quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, look, with the cap issue, if you get rid of him, and that would be a big hit. And then who are you going to get, right? Who are you going to get? If they try to move up in the draft, they're going to have to give up something. And let me tell you, there isn't going to be a team that is willing to take Daniel Jones as part of that draft pick.
Unless you give,
because the guy you're going to get is probably better.
Yeah, but so think about it. Drake May. You get Drake May, who right now, is like the number 2 guy in the draft. Can he beat 85 sacks? I don't care who you put behind that offensive line. They're going to stink. It's not Daniel Jones's fault. It's the team around him.
Yeah, but still, Eric, what I see from him, he can't make those big plays. And yes, you can do the little screen passes all day long, but when it comes down to throwing it down the field, Daniel Jones is not that guy. He's not that guy. So he's never going to stretch the field, which means that you're going to have an unbelievable running game. And if you lose Saquon Barkley, let's put it this way, the Giants are going to look worse this year.
I'm going to ask you a real crazy question. Could Tom Brady stretch the field?
To a point, yes. He's not going to chuck it like 60 yards.
But when did he start to chuck it 60 yards? They got some guy named Randy Moss.
Yes.
That made a difference. Give me the wide receiver right now that Daniel Jones. Huh?
You're kind of lagging. I don't know if it's me or if it's you.
I'm looking good on my end, but I don't know what's going on today.
Yeah.
I will say this. If you think about it, who's the wide receiver that's helping Daniel Jones right now?
That's another point. See, this is what the NFL is, okay? You have to have a quarterback that has receivers and a line and a running back. If you don't, you're not going anywhere. So if you're missing those receivers, you're just going to have the defense put 8 in a box and just stuff the run, and that's that.
And
that's that.
Point. That's my point.
So
the Giants get rid of Daniel Jones.
We really don't know who's really good anymore because everybody can look bad.
Yeah, you need, to me, the Giants build around him this year. To your point, wait it out for the season and see. Listen, if we get him an upgrade in talent and we still get the same results, then maybe you look at it. But the fact that they're talking about it this year absolutely blows my mind. Blows my mind.
Yeah, it's stupid for them because they just gave him a contract last season.
You just bought into him.
And now all of a sudden you don't want him? I mean, it doesn't make any sense.
It's like
it might just be. It just might be the media, putting this out there in hopes that the Giants just get a gift.
But I will say the second dumbest thing I've heard so far this offseason, because again, Chicago getting rid of Justin Fields.
Yeah, right.
Is number one in my book right now. Number one in my book. And then if the Giants make this move, to me, they are going to be another, below 500 team for years to come, because you can't get the chip if you don't have pieces around them. It's just not going to work, and we've seen it with too many teams.
And when you think about it, looking at especially the NFC has only a few quality teams, right? I mean, you're looking at San Francisco. So San Francisco,
Dallas, Philly, for the most part.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I didn't want to throw Dallas into the great team kind of thing, but quality teams. You're looking at San Francisco, Dallas, Philly, maybe the Lions, and that's really it. And then you have a lot of teams that are in the middle of the pack that can, if they can win a game or two more, they're going to make the playoffs.
And then James asked, then again, are you confining yourselves to mediocrity if you stick with them? And I would say this. I think listen, he got a team to a playoff and won a playoff game.
Yeah.
And you can sit back. But what happened? Saquon Barkley played out of his mind, right? The Barkley we expected when he got drafted.
Yep.
So you get a running back that can run, you get an offensive line that can block, and you get him a wide receiver that can stretch the field, as Ron said. All of a sudden, you're not as mediocre as you think you are. The problem with the New York Giants is there is no offensive talent. And you can't blame a quarterback. You could bring Drake May in or Caleb Williams or any of these guys, Jaden Daniels from LSU. It's not going to make a difference if they don't have a line or guys to throw the ball to.
No, and we've seen that firsthand in New England the last few seasons, right? I mean, we haven't had that stud receiver. And I don't care what anybody says, when you don't have that kind of a receiver that can get it done, you ain't getting it done. I don't care who you are. I mean, outside of those greats, like Tom Brady could make things happen with very little. But you still have to have somebody that can catch the ball and that can run. And we were fortunate enough to have Gronk, Welker, Edelman, even Troy Brown. They knew what to do with the ball once they got it. And the fact that when the ball was thrown to them, they could make the catch.
One point is, look at it now, right? And that's what I'm saying. New York Giants, I know you guys always watching Sports Unfolded. If you are, I mean, wise move is to build around them and see what happens. That's our pick.
Yeah, because if you build around him, if you put the pieces in place.
And then he stinks. I agree with you.
And then he stinks. Then you just have to take the quarterback, remove him, and get another quarterback. I know it doesn't seem like it, it's not that simple, but there are guys that can be free agents in a year or two.
Yeah.
Just saying.
That's deep. I would also say this. Listen, on the down, Tyrod Taylor was okay as the backup. He made a couple plays. Russell Wilson would not be a bad pick here. He's going to be cheap because Denver's paying him the $39 million. Sign him as the backup. Listen, if it's not working with Daniel Jones, now you got a guy that at least has experience, has done it at a high level, and maybe he can spark the team a little bit. So I wouldn't be surprised. Make a move for Russell Wilson. Keep Daniel Jones and say, look, this is our backup option. It's still a better option than at that point. Keep your eyes off of that. Yeah, it's show stay functional. Look at that. Sponsor our shows anytime. All right, my friend, we are going to talk some more NFL. We're going to bring up this fine gentleman, definitely one of the premium special teamers of all time, and that was Matthew Slaters. Would you consider him an NFL Hall of Famer?
Yeah, that's a tough one, Eric. That's a tough one. The question is, has there been anyone that has gone in as a special teams? Has there anybody gone in special teams? That's really
Devin
what
Hester,
it comes down to.
Right? But we just looked at it. Devin Hester.
Right. So he's basically the first. Now, is he going to be... See, the problem with Matthew Slater, it's what happens going to get the player, that has the ball rather than getting the ball.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he's one of the best of all time in special teams play, but I don't think that he's going to go in.
I'm not saying he's got. The question is, does he deserve to go in?
I think he does.
10 Pro Bowls, 2 All-Pros, 3 championships, right? You think about what he meant to those championship teams.
Yeah.
191 tackles. Doesn't sound like a lot, but you think about it, special teams. Right?
Yeah.
That's what he did. And
see, here's the way. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Bill Belichick, right? We're going to kind of say he knows football a little bit, right? Just a little bit.
A little bit.
He said he's coached the best defensive player in the history of the game, right? We'll go LT. The best offensive player in Tom Brady, and the best special teams player in NFL history, Matthew Slater. So if a guy that's been in the league over 50 years can recognize how great he was as a special teamer, the NFL needs to look at it. And I'm not trying to be a homer here, but he meant so much to that organization for 18 years.
Well, let's look at it this way. When you win a Super Bowl, in that Super Bowl game, you have to have everything firing on all cylinders, right? Who won the special teams battle in that game?
It's always New England, right?
No, I'm talking about
this recent one.
Yeah.
Again, Kansas City, right? The fumble on the special teams, right? On the punt. And things that, it makes it. It can cost you a game. We've talked about kickers before in the past, right? Like if a game comes down to a kicker and a kicker misses it, why is it different for a special teams player? If he doesn't make those tackles as the gunner and creates havoc and creates turnovers, then honestly, you could lose games because of that.
Right. If you're giving up too much field position, I mean, that has a lot to do with it. You can't stop somebody if you're going to constantly give them the ball at the 50-yard line, And this is where Matthew Slater was just absolutely brilliant, stopping those players from getting anywhere, coming from that kick. When they get that kick and they get that ball, Matthew Slater is there. And he's always one of the first people on the scene. And, I mean, it's a part of the game. Everybody that plays the game should be eligible to make the Hall of Fame.
Offensive linemen make it. Defensive linemen make it, right? And sometimes you've got to look at it. This is another element of the game. So I agree with you 100% on that, Ron.
Yeah. I mean, I don't care if they start separating everything. This is our wide receiver branch of the hall. This is our defensive line. Here's our special teams. And there's some guys that deserve to be in there. 100%. And Hester is one that deserves to be in there on the returns, right?
I agree. Great discussion. I love it.
Matthew Slater, man. He is, I mean, he's one of the ultimate Patriots, right?
Oh, without a doubt. Team role model.
Oh, my God, yes.
Good guy. I mean,
team captain, that whole bit.
Get him as a coach on that team at some point.
Oh, my God, I would love him to be a coach. I think he would make an excellent coach because, it's not those all-star prima donna kind of players that make great coaches. It's those dirt dogs that make great coaches.
They knew what it took to work to get there.
Oh, yeah.
And they can spot it when somebody else is doing it. So it's great. Great conversation. Ron, we're going to have a little fun. We brought it back. Starting 5, my friend.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
All right. Tonight's starting 5. A little different. NBA 3-point winners for a season. So they had to be the leader at 3 points made for the season. And I'm hoping Kenny's on because I know Kenny's going to get a little upset with my list. I already know it. But
boy, am I going to get upset at your list?
You might a little bit. We are going to start off with our honorable mentions. I am first, so I will give you my honorable mentions. And then you can give me yours, Ron.
Yeah.
I went honorable mention Pedro Stojakovic. And if you look at 17 points per game, 3 All-Stars, 1 All-NBA, and 1-time champion. This one surprised me. I liked his numbers. Antoine Walker, 17.5 points per game, 7.7 rebounds, Ron. 3.5 assists, 3 All-Stars, 1 championship. Gilbert Arenas averaged 20.7 points, 5.3 assists, a 3-time All-Star, 3-time All-NBA. There was a point in time when Gilbert Arenas was just nasty.
I got a feeling my list does not match up to yours. And it may be where we got our information because I didn't see those guys at all on my list.
Oh, yeah, they were on there. Oh, boy.
Just saying.
Klay Thompson. I put Klay Thompson as an honorable mention. 19.6 points, 5 All-Stars, 2 All-NBAs, 1 All-Defensive, and 4 championships, but did not make my list. Lou Dampier. He was like one of the second guys to ever win most three-pointers made in a season. Back in the old ABA days as well. 19.6 points. Oh, no, I'm sorry. 15.9 points, 4.9 assists, 7-time All-Star, 4-time All-NBA, 1-time ABA champ. And this one hurt, but I had to keep him on. I know Kenny's going to be mad at me. Reggie Miller did not make my list. Reggie Miller, 18.2 points, 5 All-Stars, 3 All-NBAs. Did not make my list.
All right, so it's not that bad, but like I said, I didn't see on the references that I got, did not see any of those players on that list. So I'm hoping what I saw was pretty accurate, but like I said, didn't see those guys.
Okay.
I only have 4 honorable mentions.
Okay.
I cut it down to 4, and I put Dan Marley.
Yep, Dan Marley.
Dan Marley made my list. Let me see. 11.4 points, 4.5, 2.9, are his numbers. But 3 All-Stars and 2 All-Defensive. That, to me, was big, and it gave a guy that comes off the bench, really. I mean, he was not a starter.
Thunder Dan. You still love him back with Phoenix.
I did. I liked Dan Marley, and I was like, you know what? I like him as a player. I thought he did his job better than most when it comes to like the 6th man, and I put him on my list. Also, I have Reggie Miller.
Okay.
Did not make my top 5.
Agree.
I've always loved Reggie Miller as a player. 18.2 points. Fantastic. 39.5 at the 3-point mark. Which is actually really good. And 5 All-Stars, 3 All-NBA. Did not make my list. I also had Peja Stojakovic. I think he was a hell of a player. Those numbers were surprising to me. Very surprising. I knew he was a good player, but we don't get to see him play as often because of being, but 40.1 at the 3-point range. Oh my, that's pretty.
Wait,
that's
you did it by percentage? It sounds like.
Oh, maybe.
That's what it sounds like.
I don't know. I just went by the list. It didn't really say which stat.
So I did it by who made the most.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to probably be similar lists anyway.
Okay. All right.
But Peja was there, 3 All-Stars. He has a championship.
Yep, with Dallas, though.
Yeah.
He was a backup with
Dallas. But, he's got one.
Yeah.
Also, I have James Harden as a honorable mention.
Yeah, he made my list. He
didn't make my list,
and it's just I couldn't refute the numbers.
Guy can't win.
All right. So, Ron, we are on to our starting 5. So at number 5, I had a guy not known for 3-pointers, but did make the most 3-pointers in a season. That was Gary Payton. 16.3 points, 3.9 rebounds, 6.7 assists. A 9-time All-Star, 9-time All-NBA, 9-time All-Defensive. Was also a steals leader, a 1-time Defensive Player of the Year as well. And he did win a championship back in later days, I think, in Miami. So Gary Payton at number 5 for me.
All right. Well, I had Klay Thompson. I had Klay at number 5 because I thought his numbers, I mean, outside of James Harden, and this is the battle for me, right? It was whether or not I was going to put James Harden in or Klay Thompson in. And I went with Klay Thompson mostly because his three-point percentage was more. Klay's was 41.3, which is fantastic. Those 19.6 points per game, you know, it is lower than Harden. But I thought it was enough to put him in with those 4 championships. He also had 5 All-Stars, and I like that all-defensive. I mean, and to 2 All-NBAs. Not bad for a guy that is just known for shooting. Not bad.
9 all-defense for Gary Payton, by the way. Okay. 9.
I know.
Anyway, the glove, baby. The glove. All right.
Love the glove.
At number 4, I had James Harden. I can't listen. 24.4 points, 5.6 rebounds, 7.1 assists. He's a 10-time All-Star, 7-time All-NBA, 2-time assist champ, 3-time steals, a 1-time MVP, 1-time sixth man, 3-time scoring. I get no title, but I
and I'm not putting him in any top 5 until he gets one.
Those numbers are too good not to consider him.
Yeah. No, I mean, I get it. It's hard to ignore the numbers, you know, but I'll still take Klay. I'll take Klay.
All right. So who do you got at 4?
Number 4, I have Ray Allen, man. I put him in that list. I love his points, 18.9 points per game, 4 boards, 3.5 assists, 40% from the three-point range. Let me see. He's got 10 All-Stars, 2 championships, 2 All-NBAs, and he's 4th because the other 3 guys that are ahead of him just have more accolades than Ray Allen. And I love the player, and he brings so much to the game, but he didn't have all the other stuff that the 3 guys ahead of him have.
Yeah. So at 3, I went Ray Allen, and I went Ray Allen because of the 2 championships. I put him ahead of Harden. So I gave him that knock, Harden, but I still went Ray Allen, and you said all the numbers. But again, in the 2 championships split between Boston and Miami.
And the leadership, like, that's a skill. That's a skill. And it wasn't just KG that came into town and got that because, you know, along with it came Ray Allen, and that was so important.
Absolutely.
It was so important because you had 2 guys now chirping in your ears on that bench, and what they brought to the table was absolutely incredible.
No, agreed. Who do you have at 3?
Number 3, I had Gary Payton. And I put him ahead of, and it was tough because I was looking Ray Allen, Gary Payton. And I love Ray Allen as a player, but Gary Payton, 9 All-Stars, 9 All-NBA, 9 All-Defensive. That All-Defensive, I have that number circled because out of all the guys on my list, that was the best.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And it was absolutely insane. This guy, 16.3 points as a point guard, and then chips in with the 6.7 assists as well as 3.9 boards. I mean, what you got from this guy was just nothing short of an all-star. Every year all-star.
Yeah, no, great pick at 3. I went at number 2. This is gonna controversial, maybe. Steph Curry. I went Steph Curry at 2, 24.8 points per game, 4.7 rebounds, 6.4 assists, 10-time All-Star, 9-time All-NBA, 2-time MVP, 2-time scoring, 1 steals in 4 championships. Steph Curry, obviously, now you think about shooting in the NBA, he is the three-point. He created. It's not even. They shoot him from half court now because of Steph Curry. But he is obviously one of the greatest shooters to ever do it.
Oh yeah, absolutely, and I have him at number 2 as well, Eric. Those 24.8 points per game is the best on the list. For who I have on my list. But there was still some numbers there that left off the table as opposed to number 1. And that is like boards. You have 4.3 boards for him. That's great. But another guy has 10.
Yep.
5.1 assists is pretty good, right? But there's another guy that also has 6.3.
Yeah.
And the point difference is only a half a point.
Yeah.
And then you look, then you see the 10 All-Stars as opposed to the 12. You have the 4 championships as opposed to 3.
Mm-hmm.
But the 9 All-NBAs as opposed to the 10. So the 1 Rookie of the Year that this other gentleman has, the gentleman has 3 All-Defensive.
I'm a little disappointed in Kenny right now.
Yeah, why?
He just quoted Stephen A. Smith. That's what you're gonna do right now. Yes, the greatest shooter that God has ever created is number 2, and we'll tell you why in a minute. Because the number 1 guy had some better numbers.
Yeah. You want to talk about those 3 MVPs, or do you want to talk about the 2 final MVPs? So go ahead, Eric. Give him what number 1 is.
At number 1, Mr. Larry Bird. I mean, again, you said the numbers, but he averaged a double-double in his career.
Yeah.
With the 24.3 points, 10 rebounds. Also had 6.3 assists. 2 more All-Stars than Steph. 1 more All-NBA. 1 more MVP. A 3-time All-Defensive. Plus Rookie of the Year. Yes, 1 less championship. Other than the championship, realistically, Larry Bird beat him in most statistical categories. And again, you think about what the 3-pointers mean today to back when Larry played. If Larry was playing today, those numbers would be ridiculous.
So he's doubling back.
Because yes, Steph Curry is the greatest shooter we've seen, and he is by far. But again, the game has changed. Larry Bird in today's NBA would be an absolute nightmare.
Oh my God!
For opposing players, it would be ridiculous.
Yeah, and you can't even touch him. Think about that. Like when you were playing back in the 80s, it was hell to get to that net. You had to go through a gauntlet, and everybody wanted a piece of it, right? You'd go down there, you'd get clotheslined by like 3 players. So, I mean, it's not the same. Now, Larry Bird would just torch players. Oh my God.
It'd be ridiculous. That's sometimes where you get a little jealous because you don't get to see it. Because I'd love to see Larry in today's NBA.
Oh,
just because of the fact that he could shoot better than anybody else back then. Imagine what he would do today.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
And he had like ice in his veins. It didn't matter what the situation was, he'd make the shot.
Oh, I loved it.
He'd make the shot.
So, Kenny, I'm glad. See, you got to stick around for the whole thing, Kenny. You got to pay attention.
You can't just assume.
You got to pay attention. All right, let's talk some more NBA here. And, Kenny, I hope you want to chime in on this because I know you're a big Celtics fan as well. Can the Boston Celtics win the championship this season, Ron? They seem to be the favorites. Everybody's saying it.
Well, they can. The question is, when it comes crunch time, can they get it done? And that's the thing, that right now the stigma is on these guys is that they can't get it done. And this is their golden opportunity, right? You have all these guys, you have so much talent on this team, they have no excuse now. And the man right there on the right, That guy has to be better in fourth quarters in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Has
He's had
to
great
be.
ones and then he's had bad ones. And if they're going
Right.
to win the whole thing, right? Obviously, Jason
He has
Tatum's
to
gonna
be out of his
massive
mind.
part of it. But
He's
I will
going
say
to
this,
want it.
if you look at they got the best record in the NBA, right? They're a top 5 offense and a top 5 in 3-point percentage, right? They shoot the lights out when it comes to 3-pointers. But they have the right pieces, right, Kenny? But here's why I think they can win it all. They are number 1 in rebounding as a team. And defensively, they're number 1 in rebounding. They're second overall in blocks. They're 5th in turnovers, Ron. Believe it or not.
Yeah.
They don't turn the ball over like they back in the past, right? We've
Right,
always seen
and
that
that's
in the past.
key. That's key.
5th in points against. They give up 110 points per game, which is still crazy to think about. That's 5th. 44.9 field goal percentage against. They are the second best. Teams do not shoot well against them. Porzingis has changed them defensively, and we thought Marcus Smart was that guy. Think about what
Yeah.
Porzingis has brought. And then Drew Holiday. You know the difference between Drew Holiday, kickball, Drew Holiday, and Marcus Smart? You want to know the biggest difference, Ron? Drew Holiday's won a championship. He knows what it takes to get there. Whereas
Right.
Marcus Smart, as great as he was as a player for Boston, from an energy standpoint and the heart, he
Yeah.
never knew how to win it all. Drew can rally these guys to say, look, this is what we need to do now in the playoffs when it gets tighter.
Right.
That's why I think this has been the best opportunity for Boston.
And I'll even take it a little further, Eric. Drew Holiday doesn't need the spotlight.
Yeah, exactly.
He is not going to sit there and just chuck. You know what I'm saying?
Breeze.
He's not going to chuck it.
Yeah.
You know, like take a bad shot when they because they need a point, they need a basket, it doesn't mean you take a shot from anywhere. And look, I love Marcus Smart. He has a great heart for the game. You know, and teams can really use that when it comes playoff times because there aren't too many players that are going to outplay that kind of guy, you know, when it comes to the wanting to win.
Yeah.
But with that being said, Drew Holiday is more composed. And he just doesn't do things randomly.
Agreed.
And that is part of the problem that the Celtics had.
And I will say this, Joe Mazzulla has grown on me. I think he's learned a lot in the last year and a half of coaching, right? And you think about it, they brought it to a Game 7 in the Eastern Conference. We already know what happened there. But I think he's learned from that because if you look at it now, they don't take a lot of games off or take games for granted. So I think the coaching has improved as well, that it's going to benefit them in the playoffs.
Yeah, and again, you know, it's like he's very analytical, right? He's a big numbers guy, right? And when he sees, because he's probably looked at all those numbers for that series, you know, the championship series, and went over them top, bottom, sideways, left, right, you know, upside down, inside out. He's looked at them every possible way. And he's the kind of guy that, you know, when you analyze those numbers, you find a way to change those numbers. And you see it in the numbers this year right now. And it's going to be that fourth quarter is always key, right? And I think if he's that kind of an analytical guy with all those numbers, he's going to find a way to change those numbers, especially in the fourth quarter. He's going to look at it as like, God, this is what we're doing wrong in the fourth quarter. We need to change that. And I think he's developed, you know, to do the necessary things.
And I will end on this. Jason Tatum, a lot of people are asking now who's the next face of the NBA or MVP, right? And he's kind of now starting to take it personal to say it should be him. And I think he understands that winning makes the difference for people to look at you that way. that might motivate him to say, look, I've got to do something now in the playoffs to make people realize I'm the face of the NBA now. I am that guy.
Yeah.
And it all comes through me. So that may be extra motivation that should help Boston as well. Hey,
yeah, you hope that happens with when you lose in the championships. It's not like football, you never come back, right? When you lose in the championships, usually the next year the desire is there so intense that you force yourself to be a beast. And that's what he's been so far this year. And there's been a lot of guys that have had some great seasons, and Luka's one of them. Luka's been out of his mind.
Mm-hmm.
But how much does Jason Tatum mean to this team right now? If he can get it done in the playoffs, it changes his career.
Agreed.
It really does.
Agreed. Great NBA talk. Kenny, thanks for chiming in. Ron, let's talk some Major League Baseball, my friend.
Oh, boy.
Rafael Devers has asked the Boston Red Sox for help. Do you think it's warranted?
Oh, that goes without saying. Especially when the guy that runs the whole operation comes out and says, oh, well, they're not spending the money this year. When you get that from your CEO, who the hell is he? When you have a guy that says, oh, Breslow's doing exactly what we told him, which is nothing. They have done nothing. They've unloaded salaries, between Chris Sale, which I agree with getting rid of Chris Sale because he was always hurt.
Good.
But that goes without saying. If you get rid of Chris Sale, you still need an ace. They don't have an ace. They don't have a king. They don't have a jack or a queen or a 10 or a 9.
So, Ron, I am gonna blow your mind right now because I'm actually defending the Red Sox.
Oh, come on. Get out of here.
I am.
Get out of
and
here.
this is why.
That's
I'm
because you're a
defending them.
Yankee fan.
No, because you, of all people, are the biggest hypocrite. And I said it every year, every show, all
Whatever.
the time. Because let me ask you this question, Ron. When LeBron James is asking to get all these players so they have super teams, you criticize him, right?
He's not asking for a super team. He's
Rafael
asking for
Devers-
some help.
Rafael
Pitching-wise.
Devers, 10 years, $313 million. He had an opportunity to say, you know what? I don't like the direction the organization is going. I'm going somewhere else. They did sign Lucas Giolito to replace Chris Sale, who's an upgrade according to you, right? That's an upgrade, right?
Oh, because he can actually pitch.
Trevor Story was not cheap, and again, needs to perform. That's the player. They have talent on that team. Those guys aren't performing.
They have no pitching. None. They have no one. Nick Pivetta is their best pitcher on the team, and he is not good.
Is Giolito better than Sale? He's going to pitch
He
more.
can be in the lineup. That's about
There
it.
you go. That's better than Sale.
It's not better. It's
can't
not
complain
better.
about
The
getting
guy's
players.
got over 4 ERA.
So his $313 million when he took it, he was okay with the organization. They stunk last year, correct? They were
Yes.
the worst team in baseball, or one of the worst
Do you
teams
think
in
he
baseball.
expected Devers to be outcasted? And I mean, not Devers, Bogarts. This is a team that you had guys in place. They went out and got Story just so they can dump Bogarts. And Bogarts is a way better player than Story. Way better. This is the Red Sox making it look like they do something, but don't really do something. They go out and get Tyler O'Neill, and they move Yoshida from the outfield to a DH, to make it look like they actually have a DH.
Didn't they sign
This is all smoke and mirrors by this team.
Yoshida's
This team
a good
is
player.
really this team is really shady and really doesn't give a rat's ass for the fans. They really don't care.
How was
They
Yoshida
don't.
last year? Pretty good.
He was pretty good.
They signed him last year. Is that not help?
No, because
What
when
do
you
guys
give
want?
up so
Let me
much,
ask you this in Boston. What do you want? Who would have been the guy?
who would have been the guy
Ohtani?
for when? Last year or this
Ohtani?
year?
Ohtani. I'm saying no. He said
No.
no. Who's the guy then?
No, if you're going to go out, you should have an ace. This
There's
team
still
doesn't
two
have any
pitchers out
ace.
there. There's still 2 pitchers out there that they may
Yeah,
sign.
and you think they're going to go get him?
Why is it okay for him to criticize him, though? He took his money.
Because he's asking for pitching. There is no pitching on this team. You look at that bullpen, it's awful. It's awful. And the starters are worse.
Okay.
The
so I don't
whole
want-
pitching staff is terrible.
So when all these guys, like an Aaron Rodgers, wants all his players in New York, and you were criticizing him, you cannot criticize anymore, because if you're okay with Rafael Devers asking for help,
I'm not asking for.
How about
I'm
performing
not
on the
saying he's not asking for hitting. He's not asking for hitting. He's not asking for anybody to protect him in the lineup. He is asking for a pitching staff that can actually go out and win a game.
I'm Abolic. Thanks for joining. I just
That's what he's
gotta-
asking for. He's asking for pitchers that actually have any sort of talent. They haven't signed anybody that's any good at all. And
Giolito.
Lucas Giolito is not good. His ERA is like 4.43.
So you got to score 5 runs.
Last
You got
year
that?
was 7. It was over 7.
You guys, I just can't with you, because you sit
You
back.
can't, because you just got Soto. You just got Verdugo from the Red Sox for absolutely nothing.
Wait a minute, 'cause
You still
No.
have the best pitcher in the
know the-
American League.
You know the funny thing is, they just said it. Soto is going to test free agency after this year. Why the hell did you pick him up then? So as a Yankee fan, it's
Why
even
not?
worse. It's even worse.
You get him for a year. You win a championship. Hey, it's all good. It's going to be Yankees versus Dodgers.
09. The last time the Yankees won a championship, buddy. It ain't happening. And they got
Yeah,
far
this is
more
why
things
they
than
have
Soto.
this all-star lineup. You don't think Verdugo is
They
going
got
to hit
pulled.
over 300 and be
got
on
one
base
good
and
pitcher.
score over 100 runs?
You're out of control.
And what did you get? What'd you give up for Verdugo? What'd you give up?
Bag of beans. And,
Exactly.
And tickets to the 2030 World Series.
This is what I'm saying. The Red Sox didn't do anything to improve the team. They got worse.
Shut your mouth. Take your money.
They
Shut
got
your mouth,
worse.
Take your money. Shut your mouth.
They got
take your
worse.
money. Could have got
They
rid of Cora.
got worse.
Didn't get rid of Cora.
No, of course not. Finishing in last place for 3 years doesn't do anything, right?
So when we say we need pitching, but maybe a manager as well.
Yeah.
But this is my point. So you can't criticize the organization.
Why
and
not?
Take money, because Cora was there. These guys were there. They signed guys last year. You were okay with it to take your money.
Yeah, they signed.
And now-
Listen, they signed guys last year. They did sign guys last year. All guys that were injured the year before. It was a MASH unit. And they were hoping that they captured some sort of glory. And here they are, always hurt again, like usual. And they're at the bottom of the barrel again.
So look at some of the best teams in the league, Ron. Atlanta Braves. They didn't go out and just go crazy. I mean, granted, they signed Freeman and they've got Acuna Jr. They got some really good players, but they built those guys up,
They did.
right? So if you're
Because
in
they have a
Boston-
GM that knows what the hell they're doing.
So again, just signing guys does not make a difference. But again, if you were that concerned about it, you shouldn't have signed the contract and went somewhere else. That's my point.
I'm surprised he
Bogarts was already
didn't.
gone.
I'm surprised he didn't.
But then you can't come back and now criticize them for it. You made
Sure,
this
you can.
thing.
If they,
You made the
this
bed
is a-
lie in it.
Eric, this is a fire sale, and people aren't understanding this. This is a fire sale. They've traded away everything. The Red Sox did what the Marlins always do, but they're getting away with it because they use smoke and mirrors. That's how they're doing it. This organization is run by people that don't care about the team. They only care about the bottom line. And did you know that this team had the audacity to raise ticket prices again after unloading everything? They went from an average of $67 last season to $94 this season. Average. Last season was $67, and it was the highest in the league by 30. By 30. And they went up another 30. This team is just a joke, and it's embarrassing to be in Boston.
Here's my Christmas card lost, because Red Sox fans are stupid then for supporting a team and going out and selling. So
they are.
You want them to change as an organization. It's not going to take Rafael Devers saying something, who got his money. It's the fans not going to the game, not showing up, and showing that they're not going to support
exactly.
And
that's what I hope happens this year, because I stopped watching them last year. I didn't watch them. I watched one game, and it wasn't a Red Sox game.
I actually watched a little bit of the spring baseball today. Dodgers.
Didn't.
Padres.
I could care less.
Dodgers. Padres.
Care less.
All right, my friend. We are going to move on. I clearly made the most sense in that. Let's talk some split decisions.
I'm all fired up now. This is bad.
Split decisions. We give each other two more likely scenarios. And if you'd like to sponsor, you can get your name up there for this segment. Just email us. We will let you know how shortly. But I am first, Ron, so I will start us off.
Line up for Ron's rants.
More likely to win an NBA MVP first. Jason Tatum, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, or Anthony Edwards?
I'm going to say Anthony Edwards.
Okay.
Mostly because you keep hearing his name all the time.
A lot. Yes.
A lot. And once that name comes out, over and over again, people have a tendency to look more. And I know people saying, oh, well, it should be Jason Tatum, but there's a lot of pieces there. Not a lot of pieces with Anthony Edwards.
Yeah. Tatum gets hurt by the fact that he has guys around him. Right?
Yeah.
Jaylen Brown, Porzingis, Drew Holiday, Derek White's been very good this year for them.
Yeah.
But SGA, 40 games now with 30 points plus.
Yeah.
A lot of people are watching, and think about it. OKC Thunder.
OKC has been unbelievable. It's been a big surprise.
So he could sneak in this year and get it.
Yes.
I don't think, to your point, I don't think Tatum gets it this year. It could be Edwards. I would go SGA first, but I like your pick too. And I like what you're saying, because you think about it, a lot of people are talking about him, so they're going to tend to watch him more now.
Yeah.
So, very good. All right. Not bad. You're first.
All right. I had to go here. Red Sox, right?
Blood boiling. Go.
Now that he has spoken out.
Okay.
Do you think it's more likely that the Red Sox trade him before the season starts?
Mm-hmm.
Trade him during the season? Or comply and actually go out and sign quality pitching? That's a tough one, isn't it?
I still think they're going to... listen, Snell's still out there. And I think he's just waiting for the right moment. And I think they're going to get pressured by the fans, by some of the players, to have to sign a guy. So I could see them getting a pitcher. Who's the other dude? It was Snell and who's the other free agent that hasn't signed yet?
Yeah, I can't think of his name.
I can't think of who it is. But so I could see them getting one of the pitchers prior to. I can't see them getting rid of Devers right now, because it'd be a nightmare for them as an organization. Because I think that's the fans.
They would have
they would definitely
time
lose
repercussions.
their fans at that point. But Yeah, so I think pitching. And I don't think they trade him. If they did, it would probably be mid-season. But even that, I can't. Not. It's too early in that contract. If it was like 3-4 years in, maybe, but not yet. But good one. All right, my second one. More likely, Doc Rivers wins a championship with the Bucks, retires after the season, or gets fired by the Bucks.
I'm going to say he gets fired by the Bucks because I don't think they're winning anything. And I am not sold on his coaching ability. I just think it's going to be a disaster there. Especially the way that it all went down. I think karma comes and bites him in the butt.
It could.
And it's not going to end very nice.
I don't think I've ever heard a coach like, hey, I came in at a worst time. We were on like a road, away games, and it was tough game. I'm like, what? As a coach, you don't say that. But I could see that too. I could see them just saying, look, it didn't work, and moving on. All right, cool. What do you got your second?
All right. Okay, so this is going to be mostly about Luka, right?
Hey.
You know how crazy he's been.
He lives on the second floor, by the way.
Yes. So Luka leads by 3.2 points for scoring, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He is third in assists by 2.1 from the leader.
Okay.
And minutes played per game, he is also second in that. Is it more likely he loses the scoring title, or leads in assists, or leads in minutes per game? Does he lose the scoring title?
I don't think he loses the scoring title. Okay.
Does he end up being the most assists or the most minutes per game?
Oof. I would probably most minutes, because I think they're going to be in for seeding, and you're going to want him on the court. And obviously, the way he's playing, I don't see him losing the points thing. The assist thing, listen, you still got Jokic, you still got some guys that, you know what I mean, could still make some noise there. I could see him leading in minutes because I think they're going to have to ramp him up. But my fear is, too, that he's still always an injury-prone player. And we forget that. He does sometimes get those nagging injuries. But I would go minutes. If I had to pick, I clearly don't think he's losing the points. I think he will win that. But I could see him being the most minutes just because of seeding and them needing it.
Okay.
That was a good one. I like that. Made me think a little bit.
It was all about Luka because I know, Kenny's out there, and he's been ranting about Luka, and I've been ranting about him for years. So
Luka and now his teammate Kyrie off the bench.
Yeah.
All right, my friend. Great split decision there. If you guys out there live have a split decision, you want us to just shoot us a message right now, and we'll discuss those as well. All right, Ron, we're on to some NHL talk. TJ Oshie, you want to bring him up? That's him on the ice there. A very serious injury yesterday. Non-contact as well. Looks like he's going to be done for this season with the Washington Capitals. I mean, no announcement's been made, but they didn't feel the outcome's going to be pretty good here. Does this pretty much end the season for the Capitals when it comes to the playoffs?
Yeah, I didn't think they were gonna probably make it this year anyway because
Agreed.
I mean they're just not consistent enough, and this is gonna hurt big time. They've already had like injuries, like Backstrom is always hurt, and so they have guys that are always hurt. They're guys that are aging, and Ovechkin is one of them.
Although he's been hot lately.
Yeah, he's been hot, but this team is just kind of stagnant.
Yeah, a lot of minuses on this team.
This team's gonna be in trouble down the road in the next year or two because they're gonna be way too old way too old. And this team, they're pretty much done. Without Oshie there, I mean, they only have one option now.
Yeah, and I would say Oshie, right? He's already missed some games, so he's only played 38 games this season.
Yeah.
10 goals, 8 assists, so 18 points, a -9.
Yeah, they're not. They're all a mess over there.
Yeah, 8th overall in points. They're 9th in the Eastern Conference. They're 5 points behind Tampa Bay right now, before this injury, and 5th hardest schedule remaining. 578 win percentage on the teams they're going to play in the 27 games left.
Yeah, that's not.
Does not look good. So again, I think it all revolves around Ovechkin anyway. And being a -17, we know when he's on the ice, right? Obviously, there's defensive lack. They're giving up more goals. He's not scoring like he used to. I think you're seeing the end of that. He will beat Gretzky because I think he'll stick around just to do it. But again, it may take him a year longer than we thought because originally he was on a pace to do it in like 2 years.
Yeah, but then his contract ends, and then it'll be interesting to see if he gets another one.
Or he goes somewhere. I hate when they do that at the end of their careers. Like you just see him, like it would look weird, him in a San Jose Shark, sweater for 1 year or something just to get a record. It's like, and then he beats it, and it's like, then he does it, and it's like, wait a minute, I know that guy. No, that ain't right.
Yeah, no, it's not gonna be pretty.
Yeah,
I don't think it's gonna be pretty. I think the Washington Capitals see the horizon, and they're actually concerned because can you trade that guy? Could you trade him?
You could. Although we've seen some crazy things now. I mean,
Gretzky got traded.
Yeah,
couple of times.
But early in his career, where again you didn't know. I mean, you knew he was great.
Well, you knew he was in Edmonton. You knew.
But you know what I'm saying? It wasn't like the longevity of a Tom Brady going to Tampa Bay, or you know what I mean?
Oh, it was worse. Gretzky leaving Edmonton was the story.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying is if you think about the longevity of a career and what you mean to an organization, it was not as long as like Ovechkin's been a Capital his whole career.
Yeah.
So you know what I mean? Gretzky once
he went to
New York and he went to he went to LA, then New York.
It's kind of like Ray Bork, right?
Yeah, he won it in Colorado, and you still to this day it doesn't feel right.
It doesn't count.
Right? Like it doesn't feel right. It's like when Patriot fans were like, "Oh yeah, we got 7." No, we didn't. We got 6. Tom got 7.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But people just assume because he was with New England for 19 years, that's what
absolutely. I get it.
Ovechkin going somewhere else, it would be just.
This is where the Capitals are. They have to try to figure out what they could do. If you trade Ovechkin, say trade deadline, which is a perfect opportunity, you can get a haul for Ovechkin because there'll be teams lining up.
But now?
Yes, because if they get Ovechkin, like, you're getting a goal scorer that can change games. And if a team is already established with the skill set that they have, whether it's defensively, offensively, and then you add an Ovechkin to it, that can change a playoff run. But also it could actually change the dynamics too. So, but everybody's going to want that guy on the power play. That changes a power play big time.
Okay, we'll see.
They could get a haul for him, not a Taylor Hall, but a haul.
Good one. All right, my friend, we're going to talk some pick and roll. Great NHL talk.
It's time for pick and roll.
Pick and roll tonight. We are on season 4, episode 8. So we went 84. We did a little mirror here and we reversed it. And we're picking some great NFL 84s. And they are Roddy White, Randy Moss, Herman Moore, Joey Galloway, Gary Clark, and Antonio Brown. And we are going to rank them from 6 to 1. Ron, I am first. I will start us off. At 6, I went Herman Moore. 670 receptions, 9,174 yards, 13.7 yards per reception, 62 touchdowns, 4 Pro Bowls, 3 All-Pros. Only guy on this list that didn't hit 10,000 yards. So that was my knock, and he had the least amount of receptions. At 5, I got a little confused here because I kind of wanted to put this in different orders, but I just went this route for a couple reasons. I'll explain. I went at 5, Roddy White. 808 receptions, 10,863 yards, 3.4 yards per reception, 63 touchdowns, 4 Pro Bowls, 1 All-Pro. So you're like, Eric, the next guy doesn't have as great of numbers, but I'll tell you why I went with Joey Galloway at 4. Only had 701 receptions, which is 100 less than Roddy White. 100 more yards, 10,950. 15.6 yards per reception and 77 touchdowns, which were 14 touchdowns more than Roddy White. Even though he had no Pro Bowls and no All-Pros, I liked his numbers better. At 3, I went Gary Clark. 699 receptions, 10,865 yards, 15.5 yards per reception, 65 touchdowns, 4 Pro Bowls, 1 All-Pro, 2-time champion, Washington Redskins. Those were some good teams in the 80s. At 2, the man is a complete A, but his numbers were remarkable. Antonio Brown, 928 receptions for his career, 12,291 yards, 13.2 yards per reception, 83 touchdowns, Ron, 7-time Pro Bowler, 4-time All-Pro, the 1 championship with Tampa Bay, and in 2017, he was the Offensive Player of the Year. At 1, though, it has to be Randy Moss, 982 receptions, 15,292 yards, 15.6 yards per reception, which tied for the most. Ron, only 156 touchdowns. Not very good. 6-time Pro Bowler, 4-time All-Pro, and the Rookie of the Year. Randy Moss, who deserved to have that championship with the almost perfect season for the New England Patriots. It should have been one. Damn it.
Come on, why'd you have to bring it up?
Damn, man.
Why'd you bring it up?
His numbers were so good. He deserved 1 ring.
He did deserve a ring. And it's too bad. So everything was the same except 1. And that one is Antonio Brown, the A that you were saying. I had him at number 6 because I don't want him anywhere near my team.
See, but you can't.
I don't care. I don't want that jackwagon near my team. Don't want him anywhere around it.
Numbers too good.
The numbers are fantastic, but you know what? I don't want him. I don't want him. So I put him at number 6. Everybody else in that is all the same order. Number 5, I have Herman Moore. Pretty good receiver,
Good
too.
career.
You know, that's a good receiver. 4 Pro Bowls, 3 All-Pro. I like those numbers. The 3 All-Pro is pretty impressive. It's second on the list. I didn't count Antonio Brown, so, Number 4, I had Roddy White. 10,000 plus yards, 13.4, 63 touchdowns, 4 Pro Bowls, 1 All-Pro. Great numbers. I'd like all these receivers, to be honest with you. 3, I also had Joey Galloway. He was ahead of Roddy White because just a little bit better. And I looked, and it's like, no Pro Bowls. I think he got robbed of Pro Bowls, to be honest with you.
Agreed.
So,
Former
Patriot, almost 11,000. That 15.6 is absolutely incredible because when you look at that and then you look up at Randy Moss, it's like, wow, that's impressive. You get the same as Randy Moss. You just didn't get all those Pro Bowls and stuff like Randy Moss did. Number 2, I had Gary Clark as well. His numbers are phenomenal. 15.5, only 0.1 off of Galloway and Moss. And 65 touchdowns was incredible. 4 Pro Bowls, 1 All-Pro, and what made it very easy to put him at number 2 was those 2 Super Bowls. He's the only one that had Super Bowls, of course, out of the top 5. I only count the 5.
Okay.
And, of course, Randy Moss was number 1. Randy Moss was just dynamic. Top 3 receivers of all time, as far as I'm concerned.
If he never went
At
to
least.
Oakland, because it was Oakland back then, that whole stint where, he was horrible in Oakland.
Yeah.
Then he came to New England, right, reinvigorated his career. Then, a couple of stints after, I think, San Francisco and a couple of places, but whatever. But Randy Moss, by far, one of the best.
I think leaving New England kind of broke his heart, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I don't think he wanted to leave Tom, but you know how New England is. They dump you before they...
Yeah.
Just where they are.
I wish they would have kept him.
Yeah. All right, my friend, it is prediction time. And decent week last week. A lot of 4 and 2s. James struggled a little bit there, 2 and 4. See, James, you can't pick against us, my friend. So if you are joining us live and you want to chime in on each game, let us know who you are picking for each game.
Hey, what was the NASCAR one?
I don't even know who won it, but we weren't even close. I think you had the 14th. I don't even think my guy raced. My guy wasn't on the list. So that's we're big NASCAR.
He got
here,
sick on the way.
I don't know what happened. I don't know. He probably pit stopped and decided he was done. I'm not even.
That's hilarious.
Eric picked me. I'm not doing it. So if you are joining us live, let us know who you're picking for each game, and we will add you to our list if you're not already on there. Dylan, James, Kenny, Nick, if you're out there as well, chime in. Let us know your pick so we can keep adding to that list and continue to grow that prediction chart. All right, Ron. We are starting off in the NBA on February 24th. Boston Celtics at the New York Knicks. That's tomorrow night. Listen, I think Boston is playing phenomenal basketball, and I like what the Knicks have done, but I think Boston's going to want to show they run the East now. It's their conference to win. They're going to come out. They're going to win this game. I'm going Boston here.
Yeah, I went Boston too. I look, there's so much talent there. I mean, it's almost like when they lose now, it's a fluke. I went Boston.
Yeah.
I think because everybody's talking about the Knicks, they want to shut that down.
Yeah. Listen, the hot team right now. The Knicks are playing well as well.
Yep.
Anybody out there live want to chime in? Boston at New York. That is tomorrow night. Uh-oh, we might have lost our whole crew. None of the guys out there.
Yeah, what's up with that?
Uh-oh.
Kenny?
All right.
James?
February 27th, Ron. Got another NBA matchup. Dallas Mavericks at the Cleveland Cavaliers. What do you got?
Yeah, this is good. This is a good one. I'm going to... Cleveland's pretty good, and they're going to be at home, but I'm going to go Dallas. I'm going to go... Luka's right now out of his mind.
Agreed. I went Dallas as well because of Luka. Kyrie coming off the bench. Kenny, we talked about that today a little bit on a chat, and listen, I like the direction Dallas is heading. I think they want to win. Listen, Luka may the same thing we talk about with Tatum.
Yeah,
having that fire. I think Luka's got it this year. He wants to get there. So I went Dallas as well. All right, NHL, February 24th. We got the Boston Bruins at the Vancouver Canucks. I am not too impressed with Boston the last couple weeks.
The sad part is they're second place, I believe, overall.
Yeah, but they're losing games that they shouldn't, and then there's games I thought they could have won or should have won that they didn't. And Vancouver's been a very good team. They've been the number one team on our Sports Unfolded NHL rankings.
3 weeks in a row.
So I am taking your word for it. I went Vancouver here at home.
Yeah, I went Vancouver as well because I mean it's something like, I don't know, 6 of the last 7 games have gone to overtime for the Bruins, and that homestand was awful. I mean, they did not show up.
And I will say this: they are one of the worst teams in overtime.
Oh my God, it's awful.
It's like that clutch piece to win those close games. They can't do it.
Yeah, and it's almost like they expect Marchand to do it because he's such a great player in overtime. But you can't play when you're thinking somebody else is going to score.
Yeah.
Because they're making mistakes in overtime. And it was a 3-on-1 against Calgary Flames that they lost it on. And, you know, it was ugly that Calgary, you know, swept the season series. So I went Vancouver because I think they're more consistent.
Yeah. February 27th, Ron, Dallas Stars at the Colorado Avalanche.
Well, these teams keep flip-flopping.
Yeah.
Yeah, these teams keep flip-flopping. You know, one week it's Dallas, one week it's Colorado. You know, so I'm going to go Colorado at home this time because it's their turn.
Yeah, I went Colorado as well. They're in second. I said they want to take over first place. They're going to want to win this game. All right, we got some Major League Soccer. It's back. So the 25th, this Sunday, LA Galaxy at Inter Miami Football Club. Messi, baby. I'm not going against Messi.
I'm not going against him either.
I won Miami.
He's
man.
too good. He's too good.
They got a very good team in Miami. They actually favored to win it all. So.
Yeah,
all right.
Well, when you have the best player on the planet.
Yeah.
That helps.
Second best player.
Best player.
Cristiano Ronaldo, baby.
No.
Gotta go Portugal. Don't disrespect.
Whatever.
All right. February 24th. Ron, you got the Ambetter Health 400. That's in Atlanta. We can pick a top 5 driver. Actually, I think that's
we hope we pick a top 5 driver, right?
I hope we pick a guy that actually drives.
Well, yeah, I'm hoping.
That'd be a good. All right.
I'm picking a guy that didn't finish, I'm guessing, because he had 0 points. He finished like near the bottom, and I'm gonna go Joey Logano because I don't think it's. I think it's a fluke, and he has to at least finish next time.
Joey Logano. Okay, got it. I went Kyle Busch. He's done very well in Atlanta. I think he's had like 3 top 5 finishes in Atlanta. So, all right, and then we got some men's basketball, NCAA.
Yeah, this should be a pretty good game.
Houston Cougars, the number 2 Houston Cougars at number 11 Baylor Bears. Who do you got?
Yeah, I'm going Baylor. I like the team. I think, you know, they've got some experience with big games, and this is a big game, and they're going to be at home, and I think they're going to take this one. Probably be really close. I think it's going to be within 3, but I'm going to take the Baylor squad over Houston.
I went Houston here, and I went Houston because they had that little hiccup against Kansas, and I think they've realized what it takes to win these big games, and they've played very well since losing to Kansas. So I went Houston on the road. That is our predictions. Ron, it is final thought time. Before we get into our final thoughts, though, would you like to tell all the wonderful people out there how they could sponsor our show, get their name right above my head, and be able to support our show?
Yeah, I think I can do that. I can do that. It's simple, Eric, because all the fans need to do, or organizations need to do, is send us an email to ribroadcasting.media@gmail.com. We can send them out all the information for it. So basically, if you want to sponsor the show, it would cost less than going to your local coffee shop and getting a large coffee with like a raisin donut. Do they have those raisin donuts?
Maybe a raisin bagel.
Raisin bagel. Okay, there we go. Raisin bagel. You know, so it's that simple, Eric. And you can get your name up there in that corner. You know, and when we read off your ad, it'll be posted up on the screen, you know, like when we do the photos, and people will be able to see it as well as hear it. So no matter if we're on video or on audio, they will still get to hear the ad because we will read it off, and thousands upon thousands will get to see it.
So help us get a sponsor, support the show. You can send stars and bits as well.
Energy drinks.
Buy me a coffee. You could do that as well to support our show. You can also follow us on all our social media platforms. Our ticket's been running the whole show. So just check us out, all our social media platforms. We are on everything. Over 1,000 followers on multiple platforms. So again, we have a lot of people, a lot of eyes on us, and want to continue to grow. So help us grow. Sports Unfolded, best sports podcast on the planet, bar none. Trust me on that one. Ron, it is final thought time. Final thoughts don't necessarily have to be about anything sports related. It could be about anything going on in the world today. I am first, so I will start us off with my final thought. And that is one Miss Jen Powell. And you ask who Jen Powell is, she will be the first female umpire in Major League Baseball history. She is 47, currently working umpiring in the minors. I guess they are going to bring her up to the majors. It's nice to see that they're finally, allowing women to perform this at the major league level. We've seen it in the NFL and the NBA, and honestly, you don't notice a difference. So they're doing a great job in those sports. So it's going to be nice to see Major League Baseball finally having an umpire as a female. Jen, congratulations to breaking that barrier in Major League Baseball. Great honor there, and looking forward to watching her call a game. So that'll be really fun to see. Hopefully not a Red Sox game, because again, Ron's just going to criticize everything. But let's see how she does, and good luck. That's my final thought.
Yeah, Eric, I was thinking about pig piling more on the Red Sox, but I think I got my point across.
I think you did.
I think I got it. I think I did. So I don't need to do that.
No.
But what I do want to do is thank Matthew Slater for a great career. And, watching him play was one of the highlights of many things of the dynasty that was, for the past 2 decades. He was a big part of everything that the Patriots accomplished. And I want to thank him for being there for the Patriots organization and the fans, because that's where it is. It's all about the fans and how they feel about some of these players. And he is like a big part of our history. And I appreciate his career, and thank you so much for being here in New England.
Yeah, one of the best Patriots in that whole dynasty. So I second that notion. What a great show tonight. We had some fun. I want to appreciate everybody that joined us live. I am Bollock, Kenny, James. Thank you guys for joining us live. If you are joining us afterwards, just continue to follow us on all our social media platforms. Share the show. Get more eyes on us. We appreciate any support we can get there. And listen, we want some fan participation. So if you are watching us afterwards, check us out live. Join in. We'd love to talk to the fans out there and have some fun with that as well. Ron, we get to do it all over again next Friday. Can't wait. I'm sure there'll be even more to talk about. Everybody out there, you take care. And all we ever ask for every single episode is peace on earth.
Have a great night, everybody.